Hi, it's Iram Ali here, immigration solicitor. Welcome to my channel, Immigration with Iram. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to prepare your documents to submit with any application to the Home Office if you are seeking a visa in the UK. Now, before I go into that, I just want to mention that any document that you upload that is not in the English language, you must make sure that you have that translated by a certified translator. There's no good sending a document to the Home Office that is not in English because it won't be looked at. So you need to make sure that you provide a certified translation and that the translation is stamped with the certification, or there's a letter from the translator giving details of who they are and the registration in their country. So that's just wanted to put that out there. Documents should also not be longer than 28 days old. So if you've got a document such as a bank statement or a letter from a local authority or a school or a court, that's confirming information in your application, make sure it's not older than 28 days. There's no good sending a letter that was written 6 months ago with an application that you're submitting today. So you just must make sure that those things are up to date and they're not longer than 28 days old, just to make sure that the Home Office will accept them. Now, moving into some of the mandatory documents. So your passport is your main document to evidence your ID. The application will ask you the details of your passport. You will then be expected to take your passport for your biometric enrolment. And there's an option of either allowing the staff there to scan the document and keep it, or to give that back to you. There's also a service you can provide which will deliver the passport to you once it is ready after the application has been determined. So you can make those inquiries, or you can book that at the time that you book your enrolment. So you need to, alongside that, upload a copy of your passport. You should always do that in colour, and it's just the main part of your passport, which has your photograph and your details on, or a travel document, so either or. Proof of funds, for some visa applications like the skilled worker visa, you may have to prove that you've got a certain amount of money in your bank if you're applying from abroad. Bank statements must be original statements and not be longer than 28 days old. And for the period of time that the Home Office are asking, sometimes they're asking you for a 1 month statement. For some visa categories like the visit visa, you need a 6 month statement. So make sure you know how many statements to upload. Sometimes they may ask you for a letter from the bank as well to accompany the bank statements. And those letters usually confirm who you are, the address they have on record, the fact that you hold an account with them, what type of account it is, and what the closing sum was on the date that they provide you with that letter. So just make sure that you're aware of what you need to accompany the bank statements with, if you need to at all. For skilled worker visas, you need a job offer, which is usually called a certificate of sponsorship, or a defined certificate of sponsorship, depending on where you're applying from. That job offer needs to be uploaded with your supporting documents. It is a mandatory requirement for some visas. If you're coming here to study, then you will need your acceptance letter from the university that you come in, or college that you come in to study with, and that will need to be uploaded as well. It's commonly referred to as a CAS. So both of those, a job offer or a study acceptance letter, must be uploaded as part of your mandatory or your supporting documentation. Next, we've got the English language test results. I think almost all visa categories, bar the visit visa, you are expected to pass an English test, which tests your English language, whether it's speaking, listening, reading or writing. Different categories attract different types and levels of tests. Your tests must be sat with an approved provider. If you take a test that is not from an approved provider, the Home Office will not accept that test result. So you must make sure that it's from a provider that the Home Office approves, and the lists are available on the gov.uk website. You must also make sure you know which test you're taking. So they range from, A1, A2, B1, B2. Different visa categories require different tests. The providers will tell you, but I advise you to make sure you know which test you need to take. So do check on the gov.uk website so you know which test to take in accordance to the visa category under which you're applying for. Then you've got the TB test. Now, not all visa categories require TB tests. They are usually for visas that are for more than 6 months. So you're going to live here for more than 6 months. So visit visas, you don't need a TB test, for example. But you need a TB test, obviously, to prove that you don't have TB, but from an approved clinic also. So just make sure that the clinic that you have your TB test at is approved by the Home Office. Again, the details are on the gov.uk website. And once you have your TB test done, you will be given a certificate which has your photograph on and some of your details on from an approved provider, and that needs to be uploaded as part of your application as well. It's mandatory for lots of visa categories, including the skilled worker visas, including the family migration visas, such as your spouse or partner entry clearance. So just make sure that you check. And not all countries are expected, you're not expected to provide it from all countries. So some countries are exempt from providing TB tests. A lot of European countries you don't have to provide a TB test result from. And then you've got your marriage certificates or birth certificates. Again, they might not be in English, so make sure you get them translated from a certified translator. Usually the Home Office will ask for your marriage certificate and a registration certificate to accompany it. So if you got married in Pakistan, for example, you might have a nikah and the imam has done the nikah, whether it's at home or the mosque, and then you register that nikah at the Union Council. So you will have 2 certificates then. You'll have your nikah nama and your marriage registration certificate. Coupled with that, you will have the translation for the nikah nama, the English translation. So that's 3 documents that you'll need to upload to evidence that you're married. Birth certificates the same. If they're not in English, get them translated by a certified translator, and make sure they're uploaded. Now, the checklist that comes from the submission of the application will give you a list of the documents that you need to provide, but sometimes all of the additional documents are not on there. So it'll have all the mandatory documents on it, but it might not ask for some documents because there's something that you've mentioned in the application form that is not mandatory. So for example, you've got proof of funds, but it may not ask for a letter from the bank, and you want to provide a letter from the bank because you want to also confirm your address through that letter. So that's an extra piece of evidence that you may want to upload. But other than that, you can upload copies of all of the documents. You can take a picture with your phone. You've got apps now that will scan the documents using your phone. You just upload that straight to the portal. There is a maximum limit of the size of documents that you can upload. So if your document, like a lease or a tenancy agreement, is too long, then you may need to split that into either fewer pages or reduce the total file size. You may want to upload it in colour. That will reduce the file size. So these are some of the technicalities that you may experience difficulties in. So that may be a way around it, but you will have the opportunity to upload everything digitally onto the portal once you book your biometric enrolment, and that's where all the documents go. If you miss a document, if you forget to upload something and you've had your biometric enrolment, there's no access to the portal anymore, but the Home Office will email you, and you can then post that document to a scanning hub in the UK. They do charge a fee, and there's a certain way and a certain process of doing that. So again, look to gov.uk to see what the rules are with regards to sending documents that you haven't uploaded. Either the document wasn't available or you've simply missed uploading it. So all is not lost. You can still upload it or send it to the UK for them to scan it, for the Home Office to scan it and then and submit it as part of your application. And that's it. I'm going to end there. I hope I've covered enough of the documents that are certainly mandatory. but just make sure any copies are clearly visible. You know, you don't miss bits of the page off, and or the top or the bottom of the page. It's not blurred. It's very clear that you can read it, because the Home Office obviously will want to make sure that they can read what they are assessing. So the onus is on you to provide that. And other than that, just make sure you go through your checklist and upload everything. If they're asking for photographs to evidence a subsisting marriage, don't send 100 photographs. 10 might be sufficient. So just you know, be aware of how much you're sending, but just make sure you work through that checklist and you tick it all off. So I hope that video was useful to you. Don't forget to subscribe so you can receive notifications of any further videos that I upload. But if you are submitting an application, then best of luck to you. My details you will find in the description if you want to instruct me. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.